back of the cabinet top again. I repainted that. It's just about done. And I also, instead of making that that MDF piece, I made these plastic pieces and I painted these to match. So I'm just going to get these ready. Looks like it's still a little wet, but I think it's fine to handle. Actually, yeah, it's fine. And I'm going to install these on the back. And as you can see, when I bring my two pieces of ABS plastic together, you know, I think if we all had $1 for every time I said ABS plastic, I think we'd all be millionaires. So now, let's see if we can drill these into place. And voila. So now the hole isn't as big and my pipe will fit right through. And if I ever did need to adjust the pipe or anything like that, clean the pipe, just take these screws out and the whole thing will just come apart. If you've ever installed aquarium plumbing, you'll notice that when you buy the plumbing from Home Depot or Lowe's or anything like that, you'll have like these logos, and sometimes there'll be like a bar code, and that's how you actually buy the PVC. And I just hate that. So what I've done is just taken, you know, a sanding block and then just keep on sanding that. After a little bit of sanding, it all disappears like so. And then take like a shop rag and then just keep going over that. And after a little bit of time, it's completely gone. Now I've done this for pieces that are actually going into the aquarium and touching water. The other pieces, like this piece, I've just painted white and black. And as you can see here, I've just sanded it all down. There was a whole bunch of stuff on this one that I sanded off. Came out pretty good. And the next thing I'm going to be doing is installing a power strip. Now on the back of a power strip, you'll see these holes, and it's really hard to source a screw that'll actually fit in there. So what I did is I just knocked these out, cracked it, but it's fine. And then where I want to install the power strip, I've just drilled in these two screws by measuring out exactly where they need to go. And now that screw head will fit into this hole and slide up and lock into place. Like so. That's not going anywhere. And after a lot of painting, this is currently what the back looks like. This piece came out pretty good. I even painted the screws the same color brown as everything else back here. So the next thing I'm working on is caulking the top part of the aquarium. A lot of people have said that these tanks, they're prone to leaking because they don't caulk the seams well enough. So as you guys remember, I've caulked all the seams basically except the top area. So what I'm going to do now is just take my blue tape and get ready for the caulking process. I ran out of caulk, so I just ordered some more from Amazon, and it should be here tomorrow. So I'm just going to prep this and then give this a caulk when the caulk comes in. Oh yeah, maybe I didn't show this, but I did super glue a piece of ABS plastic to the back of this, and this thing is solid. Absolutely solid piece. Fits in good. And it's almost like a little backsplash protection right there. And look what just showed up. So like I showed you guys in the review, it's best to just get this first little bit of caulk out, because it tends to come out clear. So just get that little bit out. Should be good to go. And this is what it looks like just after taking the tape off. As you can see, the seams look a lot better than they did before. And this is the top seam. You can see it connects all the way underneath now. Before, up here, the caulk wasn't actually even touching the glass or the frame, so I can see why people were complaining that the tanks were leaking, and that's because the water was coming up, going over the glass, and coming out of the backside and rolling down. But not going to happen in this tank. Well, look what decided to finally show up. I wonder what this is. This is the 4-foot rimmed aquarium top net screen system kit thing on Bulk Reef Supply for like $45 or something like that. So it comes with all the, is this aluminum? Yeah, I think this is aluminum. Aluminum spline or whatever that's called, bracing, aluminum bracing. The clear 1/8 inch net, I believe I got. Might be a quarter, but I think it's an 1/8 inch. And all the gaskets and the 90s. This is supposed to come with 8 90s, I believe, because it's cut in half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so it'll be 2 2-foot by 4-foot pieces. So there will be a 2-foot section here, a 2-foot section here, and that'll be 4 foot across. So the easiest way I figured out how to do this is I'm going to have one piece here and one piece here. I didn't measure from the edge of the glass to the edge of the glass. What I needed to do is measure from the inside where this is going to rest. And that gave me 47 even, because there's 1/2 inch on both sides. Now, that means the middle of the tank, instead of 24, is now 23.5. These L brackets, whatever you want to call them, are 6/8 of an inch, as you can see here. So 23.5 minus 2 6/8, which equals 1.5 inches, which is 22 exactly. So this piece needs to be cut at 22 inches exactly for this first piece. And now the next piece I have to cut, which is the center part, and I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. The inside dimension is 23. 23 minus 1.5 will give us a measurement of 21.5. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 21.5. And after a little bit of cutting, I have my first piece. I will say, be careful of the blade you use to cut this, because I cut one side and it just crumbled. Like, I mean, it literally just bent all out of shape. So I'm gonna have to bend this a little bit better, but I can show you. I'm using this bit. I'm going to use a smaller tooth bit because when I was cutting this, it just pretty much destroyed one of the ends. Like, it just bent it all out of shape and twisted it up. So I'm going to change that saw blade and finish the last piece. So I just got done cutting my pieces, and I'm not exactly sure how you're supposed to put these in, but if you can see this, I'm putting the piece with the beveled side in. And so what I'm going to do now is to show you how I'm building these. So beveled side in, you take your clip, you take your L bracket, you slide it in until it's nice and flush, and you grab your other piece with the beveled side in, slide that in until it's flush, and continue this process all the way around. And now with all of our pieces together, it should fit in there perfectly. Very snug, fits in there absolutely perfectly. So now that we have our frame done, the next thing to do is put the screen on, and that goes on underneath of the top of the frame in this channel. And I've done a little bit of research on it, and it says it requires 2 people, or not really requires, but it's a lot easier with 2 people. But I don't think this one's going to help me out much. So I'm probably going to be doing it by myself. And that's going to be for another day, because the sun is starting to go down and the temperature's starting to drop. So tomorrow's a new day. So I'm not even gonna lie, these were a pain in the ass to get right and to look right. But as you can see, no matter what I do, I cannot get these things straight until I actually put them down on something flat. And they'll eventually, I think over time they'll eventually, you know, from the light heating this thing up, it'll actually bend in place and stay in place. But for right now, you can see, like, no matter, I mean, I've tried, I think 4 different times to get this right, and no matter what I do, it always gets out of alignment. But I think after time with the heat, heating this up, it'll stay straight. And I think it came out pretty good, except for the warp and the bend in the light aluminum. It just bends no matter what I do. And I think I lined everything up. I mean, I lined everything up the best I can. And I'll show you what I did, is I pretty much just cut out the size piece that I needed with the scissors. You know, there's some extra on all the sides. And what I did is I started in a corner. I hope you can see that. I'm just sort of trying to line the grid up. I'll pull this way to get that line lined up perfectly inside of that track. I'll show you how I did it here. As you can see, this piece of net lines up with that line. What I did is I put my piece in and I started it. Like so. And then I just made sure that that piece of net lines up with that piece of aluminum. And then I would just, you know, pull back and then pull back this way just to make sure that that was lined up perfectly, and just went all the way down. Like so. And then just all the way down. And then when I was done, I just cut the excess off with some scissors. And then with both pieces put on the tank, as you can see, they sit level. It's just when you take them off, or at least mine anyway, when I take it off, it just kind of bends out of place. So the top net is done. I think it came out really well, and I'm really glad that Bulk Reef Supply, you know, gives you so much of this stuff, because, I mean, kudos to you if you get it right on the first try. I mean, seriously, kudos to you. I did not. It took me 4 or 5 different tries with one piece to figure out exactly how to do it. And I think it turned out pretty well. So the top screen is done.
I am going to be installing fans inside of the cabinet for air circulation, as well as cabinet and tank cooling. I saw these brushless 12-volt Hunter brand fans on Amazon for a very good price, so I scooped them up for a good deal. They came in a 2-pack, and included were these steel grills, which I will not be using, and essential hardware to mount the fans in place.
Anyway, so I have my top panel taken off. I know, even though it doesn't look like it, I have spray painted this white. It's just a weird kind of material, so it doesn't show up as well. I have my cutouts of where the fan is going to go. So this would be cut out, and the fan would go somewhere right around there, and suck out the hot air and push it through the sump where I'm going to drill holes into the back of the cabinet. I've made 3 areas in the sump of where the fans are going to go. This area right here with the X is a 2x4. So obviously I can't put the fan right there. This is another 2x4. This is another 2x4. And this is another 2x4. So the fans will only fit where the 2x4s aren't. Since this is where my pipe overflow is going to be, I don't think I'm going to put a fan here. So I'm just going to put a fan in this area and in this area. So as you can see on the underside of the sump inside of the cabinet, this is where I'm not going to be putting a fan, and this is where I'm going to be putting a fan, and that's where I'm going to be putting a fan. And the good thing about that area is, if you can see here, this is where the heat from the Apex system is going to exit. What I'm going to do now is cut this hole out and cut this hole out. And now with both holes cut out, this is what it currently looks like. So this is the underside. This is the side you're going to see. So the fan would be something like that. And now with the fan placed exactly where it needs to be, I'm just going to drill my 2 holes. And now I'm just putting the hardware in. And now the fans are mounted. I think they came out pretty good. If I was going to change anything with this setup, the only thing I would do is I've taken this cover off. The only thing I'd do is pop that washer out, take the fan blade off, and then maybe spray paint that white. Still not sure. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but everything else under the cabinet is white, except for like that switch, that knob. But I'll try not to be as OCD on these, I guess, but who knows? I might paint them. Not sure yet, but that's the way they look now.
In the next episode, I will finish the fans and start on the sump LED lighting system. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell for notifications of new videos. It's completely free and a great way to support the channel.